So we're getting into like a part 2 now video for YouTube. So, like we said, that last so 2 to 3 days before the weigh-in, whether it's a 24-hour weigh-in or 2 hour weigh-in, just 2 to 3 days before the weigh-in, just reduce carbs and sodium. Actually, you can eliminate carbs and sodium as much as possible. Replace half the calories to 3/4 of the calories with fats and protein, and you'll still feel pretty good. You'll have okay energy because you're probably not going to train those days anyhow, and you're going to lose all the water retention and feel fine. If you have a couple extra pounds to cut, doing like a sweat suit. So put on like sweatpants, sweatshirt, and stuff like that, and just kind of walk around some. Don't do interval cardio. Don't run. Don't do crazy shit. Just walk around, okay, and sweat the weight out. Okay, that'll work. Now, what if you have a lot more than that to lose? So say if you have over 10 pounds to cut before a meet, do that at the beginning of your prep. So if you know 16 or 12 weeks out from the prep, take 3 to 4 weeks, cut that weight off, and then just hold the weight you need for the rest of the time. You do not want to reduce your calories and crash going into a meet. That will absolutely ruin your strength levels. It makes no damn sense nutritionally whatsoever to do that. Okay, so if you start out on Monday and your meet's not till Saturday, and you start reducing calories on Monday, you're screwing yourself up. Okay, it's a very, very dumb way to do it if you understand the science of nutrition. If you don't understand the science of nutrition, then you're going to kind of just take a big fat guess on what you read on some random resource online, which is dumb. So the best thing to do is if you know you have, say, 10, 15, 20 pounds to cut, lose that before you even start your prep. So if you're going to, like, say you're 16 weeks or so out from a meet, get where you need to get before that. Okay, maybe spend the last 12 weeks of the meet weighing what you're supposed to weigh. It's going to help normalize at that weight. Sometimes people will say, like, well, if you can train heavier going into the meet, you're going to move a little more extra weight. Yeah, but that's going to be countered by you being a jackass with your food the last week and ruining everything. So get to the weight you need to be before you start your damn prep. Okay, so that's going to get you a lot better. So in your quote unquote off season, when you're kind of doing other styles of training so your body can heal, that's when you want to make sure you're at the right weight. Okay, don't crash the last couple weeks before the meet. You're just going to screw everything up. Okay, so this person also asked about how to bloat, so water load for peak performance. Ooh, this is fun. Okay, 99% of people aren't going to have to worry about this uh, because you're going to screw up a million other things before this would be necessary. But if you have a 24-hour weigh-in, okay, so you needed to get to whatever you needed to get to make sure you weighed whatever you needed to weigh at 24 hours before the meet. Okay, from there on, so the next 24 hours, so once you weigh in, you made your weight, and now until the time that you lift, you're going to salt common foods. You're going to focus mostly on carbohydrates, and don't worry about proteins and fats. Okay, it's protein ain't going to do shit for you right now. Okay, in terms of anything positive for the meat, so you can have some, arbitrary protein that comes with your food, but try to have a ton of carbs. Just carbs, 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 carbs. And make sure you eat foods that you're normally aware of in your diet or you normally have in your diet. Don't eat fancy, weird crap that you don't normally eat. You're going to mess up your digestive system. So in our guts, in our intestines, we have bacteria specific to the foods that we eat. If you eat new weird food, you will mess up your bacteria. You might have diarrhea. You might kind of just feel blah and feel like crap because your body can't break that new food down well because it doesn't have the right bacteria in your gut. So stay with the foods you normally eat, okay? And just eat a lot more of them and get rid of fats and proteins out of them. And then salt the food. And then drink a ton of water. Okay, so sometimes people say, what about electrolytes? Well, if you're eating carbohydrates and you're drinking a bunch of water and you're adding salt to the food, you're going to be fine. Okay, no worries there. So you can have sugary drinks if you want, like sweet tea, Gatorade, and whatnot, but mix in some regular water too. So that would be the idea. Just eat foods you commonly have. Don't worry about fats and proteins. Just focus mostly on carbs. And you can salt the food, and you'll know once it kind of starts tasting blah or you start feeling like bloated or kind of blech, then go ahead and start backing off on your food. Okay, the best thing to do is kind of take those 24 hours and kind of spread the food out. Don't eat like a jackass in the first 4 hours and feel like shit for the rest of the time because you're just going to run into digestive stress. Okay, so kind of spread out your food. Eat every 2 or 3 hours. Eat whatever you need to feel full for the next 2 or 3 hour meal. Okay, so don't stuff yourself. Just eat what you need. For every 2 to 3 hours, you'll feel slightly hungry and can eat more. Okay. Now, if you have a 2 hour weigh-in, good freaking luck. So you can do sugary drinks and salt, very fast digesting carbs. So simple carbs like muffins, cookies, stuff like that. Try to get stuff that has little protein and little fats as possible. So that way the carbs will get digested and get put as glycogen in your muscles. So, and drink as much as you can. Okay. So hydration protects your muscles from muscle tears. It also improves energy output and force output. So your performance is better when you're fully hydrated. Okay, so that's kind of the bloating rules. The next thing we have is kind of, they said, a general do's and don'ts of the meat day. So one big don't is don't do anything new. So don't do anything new in your warm up. Don't do anything new in your technique. Don't do anything new in your cues, unless somebody tells you, "Hey, you're not squatting to parallel. You're gonna bomb out of this meet. You need to make some changes." Okay, well then make the changes so you can get to the meet. But if you have competition quality lifts, don't do anything new. So sometimes people are going to mean well, and they're going to say, "Oh man, I've been watching your squat. And if you do this, this, and this, you're going to do well." Tell those people thank you, then just don't pay attention to a damn thing they say. Sometimes people, their mean well, like they want to do you well, is greater than their recognition of their dumbass and a jackass for trying to tell you new things on a day when you're already worked up and trying to do a competition. So I've had clients before where we'll go and somebody will try to chime in. They're like, "Oh, you should be wearing these and these shoes," and I'm like, "Thanks, asshole. Like, this person's supposed to compete today, and now you just put doubt in their brain. You're an idiot." So, or they'll say, "You need to move your belt up. Your belt's 1 inch too low. If you put it higher, you can brace better." It's like, shut up, jackass. Like, don't do that to people. If somebody's about to compete, don't put doubt in their mind. Don't make them learn a brand new technique in 5 minutes before they lift. So people mean well, but they're usually just idiots, absolute freaking idiots. You don't give advice to people like that type of advice on a meet day. You could tell them after their lift and say, "Hey, I noticed you struggled a little bit, and I think this cue might help you." But tell them afterwards. Don't put freaking doubt in their head ahead of time. So if you're one of those people who mean well and you've done that before, don't do that. Come on now. Okay? So you need to recognize what's best for that person, not just because you want to seem all intelligent and you want to tell people what you know. It's not about you, jackass. It's about that person. So do and say what's best for that person, not trying to prove yourself or whatever the hell it is about you that you think is so special. Okay? So that's the do's and don'ts. So don't do anything new. Just do what you normally do. Do your normal warm up, do your normal technique, do your normal cues. If anybody says anything, just nod your head, then let it go out one ear and out the other. Okay? So the other thing we have is get a team, get a support system. Okay? Don't do this stuff by yourself. If you're afraid, like, "Well, what if I tell people that I don't do well? I don't want to let them down." Oh, come on. Anybody you have in your life that would come and hang out with you all damn day and not be bored, they love you. They love you regardless of what the hell the outcome's going to be. They're going to be excited that you asked them to be part of your day. They will not love you less or give any care whatsoever if you have a bad day. They're going to be so freaking happy that they're there to experience it with you and share the moment with you. So don't shut people out because of a fear that you have of performance. People who love you don't give a shit how you're going to do. Even if you hit like brand new records, they would be just as fine as if you had an okay day. They'll be just so damn excited they don't care. It's like when a dog, when you come home, you could be out of the house for 10 minutes or 10 days, and that dog's going to be equally excited to see you, right? So people who love you are going to be equally excited to be there for you, whether you have a good day or a bad day, okay? So get a team around you. Get some people around you who are going to help you out throughout the day. If you need anything, they're also just going to help regulate your mood. So the other thing is tell them what you want. So I've had some people where they need someone to kind of rough them up language-wise and say like, "Hey, quit being a freaking baby," and the language is usually a lot worse than that. But I'm going to try to edit it for this podcast. So, but like where they say, "Hey, get your mind where it needs to be. Let's go. Quit pissing around. Like, you got this. Let's go." And that's kind of like aggressive. Then I've had some people where they did not respond well to that. But maybe their spouse didn't know that or their friends didn't know that. Okay, so I will ask them, hey, how do you want me to respond? How do you want me to handle this? And they're like, you know what? I have such a hard time kind of beating myself up. I just need somebody to kind of keep me in a good mood. So I've had clients where we went and set national records, and in between our attempts, we were kind of laughing about people's shoes, or we were talking about what we were going to do later that day. We looked like we were not focused at all. But the problem was when you didn't talk to that person, they got in their head, they got negative, and they shut themselves down. So that's what you need to have. Is you need to have somebody who can support you mentally the way that you want to be supported. So first of all, you have to tell them what you want. Okay? They love you and they would want to know what is best for you. So be vocal. Tell them what you want. Okay? So anybody I have that comes helps me at competitions, I tell them to shut up. So I'm like, hey, I'll tell you if I need something. Otherwise, just don't bother me. And they could be just as happy as if they were chatting to me the whole time. They're just super excited to be there to support me. And I don't mean to be an asshole. It's just I like having my own mental space. I like kind of controlling my own mind. So if I feel myself getting overexcited, I can calm myself down. If I'm too calm, I can excite myself. Okay? So I just need them to be there to hand me shit when I need it. Or if I'm getting anxious, I'll start talking to them and they can pick up the fact that I'm kind of talking. So they'll talk back. So they kind of mirror what I do. So that's what you want to have. So I went with one client to a competition, and her boyfriend wouldn't shut up the whole damn meet, and he wasn't paying attention to anything that was important for her. And she didn't know it, but she was mentally hiding from the difficulty of the day, and the boyfriend was actually allowing her to do that. So he was just kind of chatting up a storm, wasn't really paying attention to what was best for her. He was just kind of bored that day and was kind of talking too much. And I wish I could have told him to shut the hell up so we could take care of her, but I didn't, so I needed to speak up. I just felt bad. I didn't want to make her mad at me. But sometimes that's what people need. Sometimes they need um, tough love. Sometimes they need to focus. Sometimes they need the opposite of that. They're too tough on themselves. They just need more of the love. So be vocal about it, what you want that'll be best for you, and get people around you to help you with that, okay? You can also have confidence stuff ready. So if there's videos or songs that make you feel confident, have that stuff up on your phone or easily accessible. So if you're having any moments of doubts or anxiety, you can pull that stuff up and get motivated. And this, just remember, like a do or don't, a major important do is to enjoy the freaking day. Enjoy yourself. Okay? Make friends, smile, make some memories. Like, it's an awesome, fun experience. Remember that it's a good thing. It's a self-chosen thing. No one is forcing this on you, okay? So you're choosing to do it. You're paying a decent amount of money for it. So enjoy that. Like, celebrate the day. Have a good, fun, positive mindset, okay? So the last thing we're going to run through, and I'm going to try to run through pretty quick because this is already pretty long, is kind of food, beverages, supplements, wraps, and equipment and whatever. So for foods throughout the day, focus mostly on carbs. You don't really need to focus on proteins and fats. Okay, if they're in your food, that's fine, but don't purposely eat a bunch of protein thinking you're going to build and repair muscle in that day. Okay, it doesn't happen that fast. Also, don't try to have fats because it just slows down your food. So focus mostly on carbohydrates and focus mostly on familiar foods. So stuff you normally eat in your normal diet. Beverages, limit caffeine use. Do not use caffeine for squats and bench press. You will already be so damn amped up that you won't even feel that freaking caffeine. Okay, so save caffeine for deadlifts, which will be later in the day when you probably are actually going to be fatigued. So if you're going to have caffeine, do not have it for freaking squats. You're just going to screw yourself over. You're going to be overexcited, overly anxious. So don't do caffeine before squats. Caffeine only before deadlifts, okay? And drink a shit ton of fluid. Drink as much water and fluid as you possibly can. If you're peeing, if you notice that you're peeing every 30 minutes to 1 hour, then you have to add salt to your food, okay? You shouldn't pee any more frequently than once per hour. So add salt to your food to make sure you're not peeing all the time and just running that water right back out of you. But drink as much water as you can. It can be sweet tea, Gatorade, sugary drinks, whatever. Just drink stuff you're familiar with and you normally have. Supplements, like we said, with caffeine, do not have freaking caffeine until deadlifts. I'm going to say that 1,000 times and somebody's still not going to listen. You do not need caffeine before you squat. For the love of God, you will already be so damn anxious and so fired up, and whatever you are before you squat is whatever you're going to be, okay? No amount of caffeine is going to make a damn bit of difference. It's just going to overexcite your body and make you absolutely deadly tired later in the day. So save caffeine for deadlifts. Equipment. Just take what you normally train with, okay? So what I typically do is the last 2 weeks before the meet, I kind of like, okay, I'm squatting today. What did I use today? Like, what did I need today for a squat day to be good? Okay, maybe I use the hip circle while I warmed up. Maybe I used, this technique, this tool to kind of scrape like some tightness away in my quad. So just take whatever you'd normally take on your training days. Just make a list of that the last 2 weeks or so. On each training day, write down what you need. Like, so for example, I like having a towel, like a sweat towel, so I don't like constantly touch my face all the time. So I make sure I have sweat towels in my bag. I make sure I take like icy hot in case my muscles are feeling tight. I actually would take super glue in case I tear a callus. I'll take baby powder, take chalk. Baby powder's for smoothness on your thighs so when you deadlift, so the bar slides up your leg rather than sticks to your skin. You would want to take whatever you use for warm up. So if you use a foam roller, take that. If you use any kind of bands, take that. So just assume in a meet, the only thing they're going to have is a bar, a plates, and some racks, like a squat rack, bench rack, that kind of stuff. Everything else you're going to bring yourself. Okay. So you can take extra shirt, extra underwear. You'll find out why. Extra socks. Just take some extra clothes just in case you need it. Okay. And like we said, take some stuff that kind of helps you with rehab or feeling good. You can take nasal spray. You can take ammonia tabs to get you all excited. Just take a little bit of everything. If you feel like you might need it, take it. Okay. So, and like I said, the last 2 weeks of your training, just pay attention to what you use each workout and make sure you take that stuff with you on the day of the meet. Okay. So hopefully this was helpful. It was kind of a quick rundown, but decent amount of kind of stuff covered in here. So if you have any specific questions that you would like more details about, email us at brutaliron@gmail.com and I'll either give you the answer or I'll make a separate podcast about it. Okay. But we wanted this meet to be more of like an introductory, just kind of throw some stuff at you, just kind of tell you what all might be involved, and then you can find out more on any specific things if you'd like. Okay. So, I will make an offer that is like business related. So sorry to do this, but I've had people ask and I want to offer it, is in regards to what to do the last 4 weeks before the meet for training. We do have templates and programs. So for people, like they are for purchase because they take time and knowledge to write. But if you're really struggling on what to do the last 4 to 8 weeks to 12 weeks before a meet, reach out to us and we'll help you with programming, okay? It does cost you a little bit of money for the programming because of our time and knowledge to put in it. But if otherwise you feel like you might ruin the day, it might be a good investment. And then also the programming that we have written will give you a format based on your individual needs. And then you can use that from now on forever and ever and ever. Okay, so you can pay for it the first time and then just use it however long you want for the rest of your life. So it's something that will grow with you. It's not a one-time thing that you have to pay again next time you do a meet. So if you're interested in that, just shoot us an email, brutaliron@gmail.com, and we'll work with you on that. Okay, cool. So hopefully this was helpful. If you like this information, you can find more from us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Brutal Iron Gym. Also, if you like the podcast, please share it with family and friends. Please, please, please. The more people we help, the happier the world will be. And if you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions, we'd love to hear from you. So this podcast is for you, so we want to know what you want to learn about. Okay? Just like this person emailed in with the topic of what to do on a meet day. Anything you want to know about, let us know and we'll find you the answer. Okay? And our email is brutalirongym@gmail.com. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.